Hey, what's going on? My name's Coach Lee Hopkins. My pronouns are he, him, his, and you're listening to the Patterns of Possibility podcast. This is a podcast dedicated to helping you replace harmful patterns with new possibilities. In each episode, we'll explore topics that inspire you to be yourself, live your truth, and make lasting friendships. In this episode, we're going to explore experiences. Specifically, we're going to answer this question: what do you want your next experience to be? Are you ready? Let's go. It's been 2 years since the pandemic. We're about to go on the third year. We're about to be year number 3. 3 years since it started, since we've heard of it. And since that pandemic has forced us into isolation, the social dynamics have changed for many of us, right? We've lost friends. We've gained friends. Maybe we've come more in touch with ourselves. Maybe we got closer to the loved ones that we once took for granted. But now as the world seems to be opening up more and the year seems to be changing from 22 to 23, wow, it's I remember when I was a kid, that was so far in the future for me. I couldn't even fathom 2023. Wow. But here it is, just in a few days, 2023. It's time to get back out there. It's time to have a new experience. Now, before COVID, I would go to bars and nightclubs to meet people, but that never really worked because all there was to connect on were drinks. We would talk about what we're drinking and we'll talk about sloppy drunk things, but we wouldn't really talk about ourselves. We wouldn't really make a connection with ourselves. So when I realized that going to the bar and club scene wasn't working for me, I joined a hobby club. And I joined many chapters of the hobby club. In fact, I was kind of well known, not to humble brag, but no, I mean, people knew who I was because I was just around a whole lot, right? But I rarely socialized with these club members outside of the club. The purpose for the club was for us to get together and hang out in the club. Otherwise, we didn't really know each other. Well, we didn't know each other to the extent that I wanted to know each other. So I tried a different way to connect. I tried to meet people who were in the same business as I was. I even invited them over to my place, but I was so disappointed when I found that we didn't really have that much in common. It was exhausting. Can you relate? I wanted a new experience. And I didn't realize that until the pandemic. There was something missing in my life to make a connection. There's a whole new experience that I hadn't had that I thought I wanted. Since the pandemic, I've learned a lot more about who I am and what I'm looking for in life. And so I can have a conversation about me. I wanted people to know me. I wanted people to know me deep down, to see me, to know my truth. That's what I was looking for. That is my experience. I know that on my search to find someone who is interested in me, I have to know myself and what I'm looking for, and I also have to be interested in that person. It's a whole mindset shift because I used to go to different bars and clubs and social mixers thinking that I'll figure out what we have in mind. I'll figure out how we can connect with each other based on what they say to me. I'll figure out if they're a good match for me. But I changed my mindset because I want a new experience. I want to go to places in which I know that I will feel joy, I will feel comfortable, and those people who are in that space are likely following their own selves, their internal dialogue, and understanding that what they do there is for them. And if they connect or meet with somebody, that other person will understand how much they enjoy being in that place. so we can talk about the fact that we're there in the first place. I can have a new experience talking about myself. So it takes a whole new mindset to become this person who wants to meet people who are interested in them. And it's not about meeting a person in a particular special place. It's about having that mindset, that right mindset, where you can have a new experience with anyone that you meet. Because everywhere you are, if you love yourself and you're interested in yourself and you think well of yourself, everywhere you are is going to be a pleasant place. And you're going to meet someone who is in that same kind of pleasant place with you. Some of the things that I keep in mind, that I think about, that I consider when I want to meet someone new, is how I'm going to be, because that's the only person that I can control. And I tell myself, I'm going to be a gracious listener. I'm going to be a thoughtful speaker. I will be kind. I will be supportive, and I will be mindful. Because I know who I am, I know what I'm looking for. My experiences starts with me and it radiates outward just as it does for you. So, as we close out this year, I want you to think about this. What do you want your next experience to be? I'll be right back with the Answer Reddit friendship advice question. This week's Reddit friendship advice question is called Feeling Guilt for Cutting Out a Friend. I have a friend. We're both in our 30s. She did me a ton of favors in the past. She took care of me when I needed someone and overall opened up a lot of opportunities for me. Now, I'm a bit annoyed with her. She's very arrogant and condescending. She will argue over anything I have an opinion on, and when she states her own opinion as fact, she can't pull out the receipts to back her up, nor will she admit the possibility of her being wrong when I counter-argue with evidence of my own. At some point, she started excluding me from everything and barely keeps in touch. She just quietly lurks on my Instagram. One time, she asked me how much I earn, and once she found out I make more than double, she started to distance herself from me a bit. In all honesty, I think she's jealous and acts like I owe her from all the favors in the past. She has a tendency to talk behind her friends' backs, and I have no doubt she's doing that to me now. She brings unnecessary drama in my life, and I'm really tired of her BS. I don't see her much, and I'm fine with it, but I also feel guilty about cutting out someone that once helped me overcome so much. Did I just outgrow my friend? Honestly, I deeply appreciate her, but she's not somebody I want to keep in my circle. We've been friends for 5 years. What do you think? Well, Redditor, I just want to jump right into this and say I applaud you for pushing her out of your circle. I say pushing. Those are words that I'm using, but at least kind of moving away a little bit and giving it some space to breathe, because it seems like it's emotionally overwhelming. There's a lot of frustration that's coming from her, and a lot of backbiting. It doesn't feel good to you. Now, this episode is all about having a new experience and forming your own experiences, next experience, and seeing that there is something better. There can be something better out there for you, or whatever you want, you can create. So, although she has been there for you in the past, she's been a great help to you. Currently, right now, today, is really the thing that really matters, and how she's making you feel, or how you feel in her presence, is what's important. And if you can't get back to this, I don't even know if you really had some kind of friendship where you were happy and joyful together, because she's just doing favors for you, and that is the reason why you are together, as you call them favors. It's not that she helped you from the way you described it, is as a favor, more so than a person who was supportive and there for you when they needed you, because they understand how you felt in that experience, and they didn't want you to go through it alone. It was just like, well, this is something I'm doing for you because you're a friend, and not so much emotionally invested in the wealth and health of your well-being. So that's what I read. That's what I heard. That's what I felt from it. So I'm like, well, I don't know if you had that kind of deep connection like that. And if she has a tendency to talk behind people's backs, it can make you feel a bit insecure and not really well close to her. So you may feel guilty about cutting her out of your life or pushing her away. Those are my words. But you may feel guilty about that just because she put in energy and time into you. But I'd like you to consider that it was her choice. It was her choice to put in that time and that energy and that effort to help you. And you don't owe her anything because of that. She did that on her own accord. Whatever her reasons were because of it. Maybe it's that you'd be indebted to her and that you feel close to her. That's something that I would have done as a person who was insecure. I would have done that and been like, well, this is my fix-it brain working and I want to help them because then they will like me. Because I'm afraid if I don't have anything to do for them, if I cannot do anything for them, they will not like me. So that could be something that's going on with her. But with the focus on you is that you don't like this behavior that's happening and you don't see an end to it. So you have a choice to continue on with the behavior and try to change it, or you can step back and give it some room to breathe and have less of it. And I like the second option. I definitely believe that one thing that you could do, though, is shed light on the actual problem of you felt like you're not being heard and understood. And here are some reasons why. But it is very likely that based on her patterns of behavior, that she will not hear you, because when you pull out receipts and other conversations about facts, she's not going to hear those. So it might be best to just let this one go and find a new experience. Redditor, thank you so much for posting. I know that you didn't ask me to answer your question, but I did, and I hope that this helps. Best of luck to you. Take care. My name is Coach Lee Hopkins, and you have been listening to the Patterns of Possibility podcast. You can find me at patternsofpossibility.com and on all social media at Patterns of Possibility. And as always, I want to encourage you to be yourself, live your truth, and there you'll make lasting friendships.